What's happening in sports world?
Let's do this.
Another Talking Sports with the 12 men is kicking off shortly. We got all of our fellows. Well, we're missing JQ, but Gary, good to see your awesome face, my guy.
I'm back.
He is back. He is back. We're having some fun. We do this. We try to be consistent, guys, once a week, either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. It depends on our schedules. But again, we're having some fun. And yeah, glad to join the fellas. A lot of things to discuss tonight. We're going to give you our social pages. We're not on TikTok, so we're good. So we avoided all that nonsense. But we are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We'll talk about all the handles and all that fun stuff too. So as we're waiting for JQ to join, we'll pause this.
DJ Dre, what you got going on over there?
That's right. That's right. You know, I'm just in some things now. As you know, there's certain copyright things that we can't touch. So, you know, we're doing a couple of royalty-free beats. But again, I'm going to surprise you guys soon with a custom beat that's created by Dre. But we'll talk about that soon. But let's introduce the fellas. As always, today is January the 23rd. This month is flying by. So give a shout out to everyone. And Mr. Gary, how you feeling this evening, sir?
I'm here. I made it. I had asparagus today. That's right, Rob. I was thinking
Learn, man. I taught you well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Having fun. Ready?
And I didn't have any asparagus today. I had broccolini.
Oh, right. Well, that's good too.
Oh my goodness. Broccolini is good. Broccolini is good. We'll give you that.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We're easily influenced by the asparagus king, Rob. If anyone that's out there, America, that wants to sponsor Rob with the asparagus, please let us know, because that guy is a asparagus king, as we said earlier too. So without further ado, Rob, go ahead.
Hey, doing great, man. Ready to get the show on the road. We got a lot to talk about and little time to get to it, right? So yeah, let's get to it.
Let's have some fun. All right, good stuff. Like I said, we're waiting for JQ to join in. You know, we're gonna let him talk about those first couple of topics here. So we'll kind of circle back when he gets on, and we'll do a nice little start to you, Gary. But before we do that, I'm gonna quickly talk about how to find us on all of those social media channels as mentioned. We are on Facebook. If you go to Talking Sports with 12th Man, or if you put in 12th Man Sports, you will find us. Rob does an amazing job of posting some videos. As soon as I slow down with all of the business stuff, but he does a fantastic job of doing some great posts. Follow that page, like that page. We also post mock drafts. We post little updates. That is a great way to follow us in that arena. Secondly, we are on X, if you will, Twitter. If you go to @12 THMAN Sports. And finally, we've got our YouTube channel, which is another 12 Sounds. That's a page that's in its infancy. So again, we're getting started with that, but there's a lot of ways to follow us, and we are here to serve. We'll kind of get our groove going and having some fun with that too. So without further ado, we're going to wait for JQ. He's in his Ohio State stupor here. No, I'm just joking. He's having fun. Let's talk about the way too early college football for the 2025 season. And Gary, I think you said you had some things for us in that instance as well, sir. So I'm going to let you lead that, sir.
All right. So when you sent this early, I was so impressed with you today, sending these topics out early. Appreciate you, brother. What I did is I went and I looked at the Vegas odds on these teams. And of course, they've got the Buckeyes, at plus 450 at the number one spot. They've got Texas and Oregon tied plus 650. They've got Georgia behind them at plus 700. They got Penn State at plus 850. They got Notre Dame at plus 1,200. They got Alabama, excuse me, at plus 1,600. Tennessee at plus 1,800. Those are the top teams that Vegas has for this year coming up. Clear favorite again is the Buckeyes.
Yep. Yeah, and when I gave a teaser to this earlier on a short video, and I gave my top 6, but I'm gonna go with my top 12 and a few sleepers since we got 12 teams to make the playoffs, right? So I have Ohio State number 1 as well. Obviously, they're gonna have a new quarterback. Julian Sain is gonna take over the quarterback position. You still got Jeremiah Smith coming back, who arguably might have been the best wide receiver in the country as a freshman, right? And then also you might have one of the best defensive players in the country coming back, and Caleb Downs, safety as well, right? He'll be a junior next year. So they're going to have a couple of big time players in Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, and then the Ohio State. So they're going to be able to go out and buy some other players, right? I got Texas number 2. The Arch Manning era begins, right? Obviously, we all know the story. Peyton and Eli's nephew taking over at the quarterback position. And he's a little bit different from Peyton and Eli. He can actually run and throw it, right? He's more like his granddad, Archie Manning, who was also a scrambler and runner as well, right? Um,
But he
he's
had to
taking
be.
over at for Texas. I got Penn State number 3. Drew Alars coming back at the quarterback position, and they 1-2 punch at running back, right? Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. We saw them run the ball extremely well in the college football playoffs this year, right? So I think, and they got a lot of good players coming back on defense too, right? So I got Penn State there number 3. Notre Dame, they're losing Riley Leonard, but I have them at number 4. But Jeremiah Love, their star running back, he's going to be back for them, and they're going to be really good on defense with Marcus Freeman there. Clemson at number 5, Cade Klubnik might be the best returning quarterback in college football next season, right? He's got some weapons on the perimeter. We know Clemson is going to always have some good defensive players, right? So I have Clemson at number 5. Number 6, I have Oregon. Obviously, they're losing Gabriel at the quarterback position, but they have a lot of talent returning on both sides of the football as well. I have Georgia, number 7. Obviously, they have a new quarterback who got the chance to play, Gunnar Stockton, at the end of the season. They are really high on him, a dual threat quarterback, and they have some players coming back on defense. They got to improve their run defense, though, right? That was their Achilles heel this past season. Number 8, of course, a team that's near and dear to my heart, LSU, right? Garrett Nussmeier will be back at the quarterback position. He's probably going to be the second best quarterback returning in college football next season with a big time arm. And also, LSU might have been one of the more successful programs in the transfer portal. They got Nick Anderson, not the Nick Anderson who played for the Orlando Magic back in the day, but Nick Anderson, wide receiver, transfer from Oklahoma. They also have Barron Brown, another wide receiver from Kentucky who's transferring. Barron Sharp, tight end from Oklahoma. Peyton Patrick, who was expected to be a first-round pick in this year's draft at one point. Defensive end from Florida State. He's also transferring to LSU. And also Caden Durham, who was a big-time freshman running back for LSU. He'll be a sophomore. And then you got Harold Perkins coming back with Whit Weeks in that defense. Number 9, Arizona State, Sam Levitt. Who might be the 3rd or 4th best quarterback returning to college football, right? So I got Arizona State number 9, got Alabama number 10. Tennessee's got Nico back at the quarterback position, got him at number 11. South Carolina has got Sellers back and a great defense and special teams. I have them at number 12. Teams to watch. Florida, I see Gary's wearing the Gator shirt. Not sure why he's wearing the Gator shirt. I hate the Gators. But man, DJ Legway at the quarterback position, he really came on strong at the end of the season for the Gators this year. Their defense got better, so they're going to be a team to watch. Also, Illinois is going to be a team to watch. They got their quarterback coming back, and Luke Altmaier. Their entire offensive line is going to be back. Pretty solid defense as well. And Brett Bielema, we know he's had some success as a college football coach, so they'll be a team to watch. Now, one group of 5 team has to make the playoffs, right? And the top 3 group of 5 teams going into next season will be Navy, Boise State. I'm in Boise right now, and UNLV. Those will be the 3 teams to watch
Ooh, yeah.
from a group of 5 going into next season.
Where do you have Tennessee in this? Do you have Tennessee
Yep.
in the mix?
Yeah, I had
at
them
all?
at number 11.
Number 11. Okay.
Yeah, because Nico's coming back, and again, that solves the question as far as quarterbacks and everything like that. So Nico is coming back, probably getting some more NIL money. I'm joking here, but again, it's a good situation for Tennessee. They're going to run it back. Maybe they can push for like I said, for the championship. And America, like I said, Rob, we always appreciate you doing a fantastic job as far as the top 12, if you will, and tell us your thoughts, your comments on the page. This is either on YouTube, on Twitter, on our Talking Sports Facebook page. Tell us your thoughts as far as what you think your top 12 are going to be. And Rob, I think those are some really great picks. If I can kind of chime in, obviously Ohio State has a ton of talent. Talk about what they're coming back. Ryan Day is in a good situation. Texas, are they going to make some more moves? Do you like the machine that Steve Sarkisian is doing? James Franklin, did he get the monkey off his back with Penn State? Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, are they focused to come back as far as being in the championship? Because they blew through a lot of situations. They beat 2 SEC schools, right, coming into that. So, obviously, is the Big Ten getting some more love? Talk about Clemson. Clemson's kind of been on the outside looking in. But Cabe, like I said, Klubnik is coming back. You like Oregon. You like what's happening, what's going there. But who's going to be the quarterback? Georgia, Gunnar Stockton, do they have enough talent? Really great picks as far as what you said, as far as that as well. Let me grab, I think we got Naj in here as well, too. So we'll see about Naj joining. But Naj.
I'll throw you one more bone here, Dre. I think Georgia Tech will be a surprise team next year, too. They're going to be a team to watch, right? They got both of the quarterbacks returning as well. I could see them definitely competing in the ACC. I think Clemson is the favorite, but I think Georgia Tech easily could be the second or third best team in the conference next year. I think SMU will still be good with Jennings at the quarterback position, but I think they're dropped. They're losing some of their experienced players around them. I think SMU will still be a top 25 team.
I agree.
But I have Georgia Tech slightly ahead of SMU. So I have Georgia Tech number 2, SMU number 3. We'll see what Bill Belichick's going to do with North Carolina.
Yeah, appreciate the shout out too, because Haynes King is coming back, like you said. He kind of got injured into the season, so tough quarterback. But as you know, as you have a quarterback that's going to lead your team, and then we've got a lot of good talent. We've got a lot of great pickups in the transfer portal. We lost a great receiver in Eric Singleton Jr., but Malik Rutherford's back. We got Bailey Stockton. We've got some good pieces again, and Jamal Haynes, our running back, is coming back as well. So we have to prove it for sure. But I'm always a little hesitant to jump on that wagon for Georgia Tech because we don't know enough. Every time I get excited, something happens. But they do have a lot of talent, and I'm really excited to see what Brett Key is doing over there with Georgia Tech. And now is the year to get Georgia too. We could have got him last year in that stupid call, but stupid ass call that But again, 8 overtimes later. But that's how the cookie crumbles. Naj, I don't know if you can hear us, but if you can jump in or how you're feeling over there too. So we'll welcome him. He's a great surprise as well. Gary, did you have anything else to follow up on the top 25? What Rob said?
No, I'm good with that.
Awesome.
Rob was thorough.
Excellent. Hey, again, we're going to lead to you, Gary, as far as the Cowboys hire. And I got on the pre-call, Rob, and me and Gary were talking, and there's been some word on the street that the Cowboys may be leaning towards a Brian Schotten, which Gary will talk about his feelings, and then also Kellen Moore was another one. But is Deion Sanders the answer? Are they going to hire them? Believe it or not, as a little side note, Georgia Tech is playing Colorado as well too. Just that's kind of interesting how that plays out too this year too. So yeah. Anyway, we'll see if Deion is going to be on the sidelines for that. Go ahead, Gary.
Well, I would definitely prefer Deion Sanders over either one of those guys, either Moore or Schottenheimer. Schottenheimer's been in football for NFL around 20, 22 years. He's never even had so much as a sniff as a interview for a head coaching position. And now the Cowboys, he's had a second interview with the Cowboys. And from what I've read too, he's the leading candidate. I think this is a horrible mistake. I think that I don't think his dad was a very good coach, as I was saying offline, and I think he would be a shell of his dad. I don't think it'd be a horrible move. And I'm thinking that really I think Kellen Moore is just a little bit better than that. I think, with Kellen Moore, I think he's okay. It's pretty easy to game plan the Eagles. You've got a mobile quarterback that's accurate. You got a good offensive line. You got a great running back, one of the best in the leagues. You got a defense to back you up. And I think that team has actually made him look better than Kellen Moore is. So I would love to see Dion get in there. I mean, there's a whole list of Pete Carroll. I'd rather have Pete Carroll than either one of those guys, even at 72 or however old he is. I'd rather have Bill Belichick than either one of those guys. They need someone that's going to go in there and light the fire into their asses, not have somebody that's just going to cater to the Jones family. And that seems like that's what they're doing. They want to get somebody that's just going to fall in line with, what they want to do and not push back. Dion has a strong enough personality that he could push back against Jerry and his inept son. So that's what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping that all of this is just smoke and mirrors, and that they end up pulling their heads out of their own asses and they hire Dion, is what I'm hoping for. What do you think about that, Rob?
Yeah, I don't think the Dion situation is going to happen for the Cowboys. And when you look at the Brian Schottenheimer situation, when you interview someone for the second 4 hours, it looks like he is to get that position right now. And the way I look at it, if you're going to hire Brian Schottenheimer, you should have kept Mike McCarthy. I mean, you should have just renegotiated a deal to keep Mike McCarthy. He was the offensive coordinator on McCarthy's staff. I mean, if you're going to go that direction, why not keep Mike McCarthy as your head coach, right? And I mean, I agree. If I was a Cowboys, if I was a Cowboys fan, which I am not, by the way, but I would be upset too with Brian Schottenheimer hire. I would have been like, you might as well keep Mike McCarthy as the head coach if you're going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That doesn't make any good sense at all for the Dallas Cowboys in that regard. I mean, you should have just kept Mike McCarthy if you want to do that.
Well, what about my analysis of Kellen Moore? What's your take on that?
I would take Kellen Moore over Brian Schottenheimer. I think when you look at what Moore has done, obviously he's revived this Eagles offense. Yeah, he has got a lot of talent. He inherited a lot of talent. But when you look at the year-over-year improvement that we've seen out of the Eagles offense from last year to this year, now last year they didn't have Saquon Barkley. This year they do. So that was obviously a huge addition. But you see the improvements that the Eagles offense have made year over year, right? So, and I would take Kellen Moore. When you look at the Cowboys' offensive success over the last 4 to 5 years, a lot of that was when Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator, right? I thought he did a decent job with the Chargers, even with all the injuries. I would be a little bit more excited about Kellen Moore than I would be Brian Schottenheimer, that's for sure.
But would you be excited if you were a Cowboy fan with Kellen Moore, with these other coaches that are out there?
Well, I mean, I think candidate, right? I think he's just interviewing Kellen Moore. He seems like he's young. And you look at some of these young coaches around the league that are having success. There's Sean McVay of the Rams. You look at Matt LaFleur with the Packers, right? You got a lot of good young coaches around the league, especially offensive-minded head coaches at that, right? That's having some success. And so you got a lot of teams that want to, kind of go in that same direction and hope that they can have the same success, right? And so Kellen Moore will be one of those guys that you may want to take a chance on. Even a coach for the Bengals, right? Zach Taylor. He took the Bengals to the Super Bowl, young head coach. Even last year when Joe Burrow was hurt, they still were 9-8, even with the back. They've had some success. Actually, the defense was trash this year, right? But young head coach who's having some success, offensive minded. Maybe you hit the jackpot with that again with a Kellen Moore.
DeMarco Ryans, you got Ben Johnson. Obviously, you got a lot of, like you said, to piggyback on what you said, Rob, a lot of good coaches that are making some situations.
DeMarco Ryans,
like you said,
2 years in the divisional round with the Texans.
Yeah. Now, Gary, do you want like the old head or do you want like the unproven? So you got to you can't have it both ways. You got to pick which ones you want to go. Obviously, you're making some mistakes, or do I get the retread, if you will? So you have some interesting options if you are a Cowboys fan. You have to work under Jerry Jones, if you will. And I think I was listening to something they were talking about. Jerry Jones looms big, right? He's going to be the focal point of that franchise. That's why him and Jimmy Johnson could never get along, because their egos were too big. Bill Parcells was in this last part of his career. He's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care what you want to do. So it's just interesting. I'm going to let Naj.
The only thing that I would say, I'm sorry, the only thing that I would say about that is the one coach that would be probably a great fit would be Bill Belichick. He doesn't want to speak at all. Let Jerry Jones speak about whatever he wants to speak about. Bill Belichick wants to coach the team.
That would be hilarious, Jerry.
He comes up with a great game plan every week. He's not going to talk to the media. Hey, Jerry, go up and talk to him. Jerry's good in front of the camera. That would probably work out fantastic.
I was surprised at how well Bill Belichick did on TV, because he didn't seem like the TV personality type, but he actually did really well on TV this past year with the NFL Network, and
he did. I was surprised.
Very surprised.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think what it is when he's coaching and he's focused on stuff like what he's got to do week to week with his teams. Seems like he's pissed off all the time, but he relaxed and he's got that 25-year-old girlfriend to help him out with that, and so he's doing pretty good.
Think of the same reporters. Gary, he's been doing that job for the Patriots for so long, 15 years. Go ahead, Naj.
Can y'all hear me at all?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yeah, man. So I'm outside. Salute to y'all, man. Another great show. But yeah, man, this is nepotism raising its head in the NFL once again. So we got the Schottenheimer is back once again. And to kind of add on, you guys were just talking about Belichick. I think the whole North Carolina job is about setting his son up. Like, this is about family. This is him saying, I'll stay here for a few years, but I'm basically putting my son on in a job to where he can make a name for himself. And I don't think he has any illusions about getting back into the NFL, because there's so much bad blood between him and some of these organizations. And then with his age, I don't think most teams are going to give him the power that he wants. And he's not about to come in and be reporting to some 35-year-old GM. Like, Bill is just not going to do that, man. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. So the Schottenheimer thing is interesting. I feel you. Like, Dion would sell more tickets and kind of put them on primetime and things like that. But I think it's a more realistic version to bring in Schottenheimer and say, okay, can you fix this? And if he can't, Jerry, he'll run him out of town too.
That's a great call. Great call, Naj. That's interesting what you talk about as far as Bill. That's a great another point as far as setting up his son. And I think what's kind of crazy is that you mentioned him getting a bad rap with a lot of the NFL organizations. I think Blank was going to hire him until he talked to Robert Kraft, and Kraft was like, Kraft did something, because I think Belichick was going to be the coach. Kraft said something, and about face, we went a totally different direction. And again, I don't have any proof about this, but from what I was hearing as far as the tea leaves, that was kind of the situation. So, yeah, something happened. maybe he got soured with a lot of NFL stuff, and like you said, the 25-year-old Gary, other situations. I'm gonna go pivot to, North Carolina, because we did not. I'm sure nobody saw this coming. Him accepting a North Carolina job, so it makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, because it's not even a blue blood football program. So the fact that he would take that one, I think he was thinking about legacy and he was thinking about, his son's career. But, back on the Cowboys thing, we spend so much time talking about them because they're like the Lakers for the NFL, the most important story. But they're not as bad as they played last year. You get a full season from Dak. You get that O-line together. Of course, you need more weapons. It can't just be CD and the CDets. And some things can be done. So, they're not that far away. And I think a lot of people were surprised, not me, because I had them in best ball and season long and everything else, on Rico Dowdell as not a premier back, but a feature back who you can add somebody to in the draft and have a committee. And that's a viable running game. That guy's much better than
he did come on, particularly in the second half of the season. You're right, Nash. I mean, the second half of the season, he was really playing really well for the Cowboys. And you saw the Cowboys start to play a little bit better toward the end of the season as well, right? And Rico was a big part of that, right? And their defense started playing a little bit better, where the defense early in the season was just straight trash. And they slowly got a little better as the season went along. And the defensive side of the football has some injuries too, with Micah being out for some time as well. And, the NFL, when you look at some of these teams that are in last place, and I know the Cowboys didn't finish, the Giants did, but I mean, the right off-season moves, you can go from worst to first in the NFL. We've seen that 25 years in the NFL, right? You saw with the Commanders this year. They're number 2 pick in the draft. This year, they're playing for the NFC Championship game, right? With the opportunity possibly to go to the Super Bowl.
Amazing.
So the right moves, the right breaks for your organization, you can get right back in the mix, right? We've seen it time and time again in the National Football League.
We'll talk about that too, 100%. Hey, so we're going to do a quick shout out to Rob here because we're going to talk about Nick Saban. And he was on the Pivot podcast. Shout out to I know Rob was going to beat me to the punch, former LSU player and defensive back, Ryan Clark. And he talked about his biggest mistake. And he said his biggest mistake was actually leaving LSU to coach at the Miami Dolphins. And basically he was talking to his agent, and his agent was like, do you want to be Bear Bryant or Vince Lombardi? And he said, I want to be Bear Bryant. But then he goes against his gut, his instinct, and he picks the Dolphins. And obviously we know what happened. And Rob, I'm kind of curious what history would change if he stayed at LSU, because he just won the championship a year before. He goes to Miami, and we talk about that. And obviously Alabama wins, but how different would it have looked like? I know there's no time machine here. If he would have stayed at LSU, would they have been as dominant as Alabama? We will never know, but it's kind of curious how that decision actually evolved, my guy.
Well, yes, I think they would have been as dominant as Alabama, maybe even more dominant. And I'll tell you why. Louisiana, right? He could recruit right there locally. And that was the thing that he changed when he went to LSU, right? A lot of star players in Louisiana were going to Florida State. They were going to Nebraska. They were going to other schools around the country. But when Nick Saban came to LSU, he says, look, if we can just wrap a levee around the state of Louisiana and handpick talent around the country, he says, we will be successful every single year. And that's what he did. And that's how he rebuilt the LSU program. And he called it a sleeping giant when he got to LSU, right? LSU was underperforming before Nick Saban got there. He won a national championship. But also, look, think about this too. Even after Nick Saban left, LSU still won 2 national championships. Miles won a championship at LSU, and Orgeron won a national championship, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no doubt in my mind that Nick national championships than what Les Miles and Ed Orgeron would have done if he was in LSU as well. So yeah, I think I don't think he would have had to work as hard to recruit at LSU as he did at Alabama. And so, and I think that's why, he makes that comment that that's one of the regrets that he made in his coaching career. And look, we know the debacle he had at Miami. He went 2 years. He picked Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. We know what that turned out to look like for him, right?
Yeah.
And so that turned out to be a debacle for him in the pro game as well. So I understand. I've heard him make that comment years ago as well, even while he was at Alabama. That was one of the regrets he ever made, right? So no, there's no doubt in my mind. Like some championships after he left, there's no doubt in my mind he won more deep in there.
To me, several more. He's just that guy. He's just a fantastic recruiter. He just gets players. He gets his teams ready. I think it would have been several championships.
Hey, look, man, you saw that video of Nick Saban doing that two-step in them people's living room? That man knows how to talk to your mother. He knows how to tell your father. He's going to make you a man. He knows how to charm your mother. Yes, like people probably think what Rob is saying is hyperbolic. No, this is the reality. You get Nick Saban staying there the whole time without the pressure of Alabama where they'll run you out over a 10-win season, where LSU, to where everybody would have kind of just bowed down and let him do whatever he wanted. Like, look, man, shout out to the great Justin Vincent. Like, he won a chip then. You telling me Nick Saban pulling in 5 stars and, like Rob said, putting up a fence around Louisiana to keep all the top-tier talent? Yeah, he would have won those chips. Yeah. And if you've ever played any team sport or whatever it is, or been a fan, a coach, whatever, Nick Saban interviews, you immediately see, okay, this is a football guy. This guy reminds me of this coach. This guy reminds me of that person. The specific work he does with DBs, dude, a head coach working with DB, like, come on, man. And when you go and look at his resume and you realize as a graduate assistant in Ohio State and Notre Dame and all these different places that he went and just picking up football knowledge everywhere, I mean, he's just a savant, man, and one of the most respected sportsmen we've had in the past 50 years. So, yeah, you put him in LSU, man, yeah, it's chip after chip after chip, man. It don't stop.
Yeah. A lot of LSU love over there, Rob. A lot of LSU love for you, man. But
well, I hated him when he was with Alabama, though.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to give the guy his props.
He's definitely.
I mean, he's
the best college football coach in our era for sure, right? I mean, he's won national championships at 2 different schools, right? Even the short time at Michigan State, he had them competing for Big Ten titles, right? And that's Michigan State. I mean, you're dealing with Michigan, you're dealing with Ohio State. He had them competing even at Michigan State prior to going to LSU. So there's no question, one of the greatest defensive minds in college football, one of the overall better head coaches that we've seen in college football. And look, we've seen the drop off in 1 year at Alabama since he left, right? And just like that. So that just shows you the impact that he has from a coaching perspective. And he's a great communicator, right? I mean, you had him even on TV right now. He's a phenomenal communicator. As Naj talked, communicate with parents in the home. He can communicate to the media. He's just a phenomenal all-around coach and communicator. And he's a great salesman, which you have to be as a coach.
Always be recruiting, baby.
There it is. Hey, just don't sign up for any of his vacation RBOs at homes, man, because no long showers. All right, we're gonna wrap this up too. So, watch. Oh man, I was just gonna say he did say that he did enjoy developing talent too, as far as for the college game, which is kind of different from the pro game, right? So again, you can tell that's kind of his element, and it's a learning lesson. This thing I take away from stuff, things that you think and never be like, man, I made a mistake or I chose this, and just go where you're supposed to be. Let's get to some.
And Dre, with the pro game, he just got a bad dice roll. Culpepper's medical was bad, but wasn't horrible. Drew Brees' medical was horrible, and that's why everybody was scared to touch him. And that ended up being the wrong choice because Drew got healthy and became a Hall of Famer.
hindsight is always 2020,
Yep.
guys. Ricky Williams, all the mess. He wanted to run the ball. I mean, he has some good philosophies, and we thought he was going to do some things, but it's just a different situation, you know. So a different type of whenever you're trying to inspire, for sure. All right, guys, let's get to some predictions for the NFL. We want to get to really quickly. I want to get to the mock draft and what's happening with Aaron Glenn and all that fun stuff. We got the Bills and the Chiefs, and just a tough game for the Ravens. I think all of us picked. I think we all picked the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken, last week, Rob.
Except for me, I picked the Bills.
You picked the Bills. We all picked the. Okay,
I said I was pulling for the Ravens, but I picked the Bills last week.
Fair. Okay. Rob gets a pass, gets a chip on that one, but yeah,
and I was 1 point off from a perfect prediction. I predicted 27-24 Bills, and the game finished 27-25. Obviously, Mark Andrews dropped pass help, but
yeah. So we got the Bills after refs. I mean the Chiefs. What happens this one? I mean, does
he wouldn't have been in anyway.
Please, NFL, don't give us the Chiefs, man. Oh my God, I can't
So what?
stand it. I can't stand it. I mean, I was like, please, NFL, don't give us the Chiefs. But if you're the Bills, it's like, you know, it's kind of scary because you know you don't want to lose 5, right? But what game would you like to see too in the Super Bowl? I mean, but I think the NFL does want the Chiefs to win. I don't want it to happen. I'm gonna let you guys pick in the other game, the Commanders at the Eagles. It's like we don't want to see a rematch of the Chiefs and Eagles. We don't want to see that. But like the Commanders, it's like, does Jaden have that magic? It's like I can't believe how fast that they're there. I mean, it would be great to see the Bills and the Commanders. I don't want to repeat. Oh hell, I'll take the Bills and the Eagles, but please no Chiefs.
yeah.
Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry. Soapbox.
I'm pulling for the Bills and the Commanders. Obviously, you all know why I'm pulling. But if I'm being objective in these ball games, I mean, Josh Allen is 0-3 in the playoffs against Mahomes, right? And you know, the Chiefs have Andy Reid, they have Patrick Mahomes, they have Chris Jones on defense.
Oh my God.
Right? And you look at Josh Allen, their passing game hasn't been great, but they're better in the backfield, right? They're better running the football this year. It's just hard for me to pick against the Chiefs at home, right? If this game was in Buffalo, I will pick Buffalo. I might even pick Buffalo if this game was on a neutral field too, right? But this game is in Kansas City. They got the refs in the back pocket, right? And you got right? And look, man, that was one of the most bogus personal foul penalties I've ever seen in watching football. 2 dudes from the Texans, they hit each other. They didn't touch them.
Right.
And they called a personal foul. That's like unbelievable.
It looked like a personal foul to me.
I don't think that was the reason why the Chiefs won the game, right? But in a nutshell, I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go 27-23 Kansas City in this one. I'm pulling for Bills, just like I was pulling for the Ravens last week, but I picked the Bills. I'm pulling for the Bills, but I just think the Chiefs are going to be too tough at home. And then when you look at the other games, kind of the same thing, right? I'm pulling for the Commanders, but I'm picking the Eagles at home. You know, it looks like Jalen Hurts had he practiced full today, right? You know, I was kind of watching that. That would be the best chance that Washington has to win if he's not healthy. Washington did beat the Eagles this year when Hurts went out of the game with a concussion, right? I just think, you know, they're going to come up with the right defensive scheme to at least slow Jaden Daniels' game, and I'm going with Eagles in this one as well. I'm going to go 27-20 in the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl, but if you're asking me who I want to see the Commanders and the Bills.
Yeah.
Well, I think as far as the NFC goes, Jake, you go ahead.
No, I agree with that though. I mean, I think everybody wants to see that though, right? We want to see the Commanders and the Bills. Nobody wants to see the Chiefs and the Eagles again. Like, I want to see somebody get their first Super Bowl or get their Super Bowl in like in a long time. Like nobody wants to see that again. So I agree.
But who you think's going to win? Well, who you're picking the who?
So I'm going to go with the Bills. I know it's not sexy, but I feel like they beat them once. I think they know what to do to beat them again. Um, and I feel like the Eagles are going to probably beat the Commanders. I do, but I'm pulling for the Commanders for no other reason. I just don't want to see the Eagles fans have anything to cheer for.
I'm with you. I'm with you, JQ. I'm with you, JQ. Oh my
Gary,
God.
I'm
I mean,
curious to know who
I-
Gary's rooting for between the
Yeah.
Eagles and the Commanders as a Cowboys fan. You rooting for a tie, or I mean, we can't have a tie in
Oh
a
my
playoff
God.
game.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I told you guys this halfway through the season that I thought Washington was the better of the two teams, and this is going to be the week that they're going to show Philadelphia that they're the better team. It's going to be 24-24, maybe a little bit left, and that young guy is going to get them down in the field goal range, and it's going to end up 27-24 Commanders.
Ooh,
Ooh-wee.
ooh! I can
I
see
hope
that
you're right.
happening though.
As far as the other game, like you guys, I'm pulling for the Bills. But you know, Mahomes in the playoffs, it's just gosh, all the team has to do is stub their toe and then he wins the game. So I believe that Kansas City will win this game, and my score on that is 31-23.
You know what? I just don't know if they can call the same penalties against the Bills that they called against the Texans, and in that game, and you're like, well, wait a minute now. It's been so much of a light shined on it now that it's going to be hard. And I think they use their card. And when Troy Aikman says, "Come on, man, come on, bro," you know what I mean?
Right.
Like when he does that and he puts the light onto it, like I'm like, okay, the Bills are going to have to lose that game. I don't know if they can do that same nonsense where they give them the calls another week in a row and everybody's like, you know what, fuck this. It's hard.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of us a few years ago when we were talking about, New England.
Yep.
And the calls that they would get
Bingo.
and stuff.
There it
Now
is.
Now it's Kansas City that's we see
Yeah.
because we all saw that personal foul call that absolutely wasn't two guys
They used to
colliding.
mug the wide receivers, Gary, back in the day. They had to make the calls because man, Marvin Harrison kick it off the line. They used to mug those receivers.
What are you talking about? What about when they played the Rams in the Super Bowl? They mugged Torrey Holt and Isaac
That
Bruce.
too.
They mugged them in that Super Bowl.
But
them jokers are like,
but no,
where you going?
Gary put his finger on the main thing. The Chiefs get the benefit of the doubt, similar to what the Patriots got on all 50-50 calls. Now, when it's a good team, that's hard to overcome. And that's what we see with NFL dynasties. Not only do you have to win, but you have to make sure you account for the calls that aren't going to go your way. So I
you got to leave no doubt.
Yeah.
You were right. And I look at this like this. Buffalo and Baltimore, we saw Buffalo basically have a muddied, slow field, and they played buttoned-up football with Josh Allen, where they said, Josh, we're not going to ask you to win this one. This week, we're going to see all-out, ridiculous Josh Allen. He might throw a lateral to a fullback. He might throw a 60-yarder to a backup tight end. Like, we're going to see Buffalo go all out.
Yeah.
And here's my question to y'all, though. But just think about this. Everything we know about the Chiefs, the defensive players are really good, but on offense, they missed a lot of draft picks, and that's why Mahomes has to play the way he has to play now. If Buffalo gets up early and Kansas City has to outscore them, do you really see that offense do it? Look, Travis Kelce 7 for 150. That ain't happening again, brother, because they're covering the middle of the field. They're going to force Hollywood and some of those guys to make some plays. So, I'm going Buffalo 30-23. I think they surprise everybody with how wide open they are offensively.
Wow.
And in the other game,
Yeah.
Bounty Gate Part 2, baby. Jalen Hurts, brother, I hate to say this, they are going to try to hurt you. They are going to try to affect the head, as that DC told us so many years ago. And
Wow.
I think Washington is going to pull this out, man, because I think Hurts is way more banged up than the Eagles are letting on. Yeah, he practicing full today. But, dude, I don't know, man. He's had an interesting month from the shots to the head, some of the shots he took to the body. So you take away the tush push and the ability to throw the ball down the field, because Washington, say what you want to say, but Daniels is going to score, okay? Like, as good as the Eagles defense is, Washington is going to score. So, yeah, I'm going with the two underdogs in this, man. I think we get a new Super Bowl situation. Go
I hope you're right.
Well, the only thing that I would back up on is if we go back and we look at Kansas City this year, all the games that they won where they just eked out.
Close.
So many games.
Yeah.
This could very well be the time that they run out of gas. It very well could be.
We can see that. We can see that. Yeah.
And I'm going to put the Schaefer. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm putting the Schaefer curse on.
Well, the Schaefer. Hey, that's the Schaefer curse. Listen,
oh my goodness gracious!
The thing about Washington is
this though. Has that Schaefer curse worked this year when the Cowboys played the Eagles and the Commanders?
Oh, here's the difference, though.
You know, I didn't worry about that. I just put the curses on all of your teams.
Oh my goodness!
But you know what's crazy? The crazy part about it is the Marshawn Lattimore trade to the Commanders, because you hit on, and I hate that MFer from fucking Michigan, but he's playing a solid cornerback for Washington. So now you put him on, and you put Marshawn Lattimore on the other side of him. Do they match up better against, AJ and Devontae? And then you say, okay, if we can cover those guys up, and then we can say, hey, we're gonna crowd the box, and we're not gonna let Saquon go crazy. We believe that our two cornerbacks can match up with your two wide receivers, and we're just gonna play that game. I'm interested to see if Washington just plays that game and says, listen, we're playing with house money. Nobody expects us to win anyway. But we got two elite cornerbacks, and we're going to put them straight up on your two elite wide receivers, and we're going to put 7-8 men in the box and dare Jalen to beat us. That's got to be Washington's game plan to pull off the upset.
Yeah, the thing I like about Cameron still. Oh, I'm sorry, Dre. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say really quickly, great thing, and AJ Brown's over there reading books on the sidelines about self-help, but we'll see if he's even in the game. But go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, JQ was talking about the cornerbacks for the Commanders. The thing I like about Cameron still, he's a former wide receiver, and which means he's got ball skills, right? And so the ball's thrown his way, he's attacking it like he is his, right? From his wide receiver days, he actually went to Michigan wide receiver. They moved him the corner, right? But yeah, he's a guy that has ball skills. If the ball is in his area, he's attacking and he's going for the INT in this game. Like, I think it's going to be a close game. I'm pulling for the Commanders. I guess I need to hear a little bit more about Jalen Hurts before I have the guts to pick the Commanders. I still think the Eagles, when you look at, they still got Saquon Barkley. They still have the best offensive line, or the second best offensive line in the league. Jalen Carter is unblockable on the defensive line right now. I mean, he's been unblockable since like week 2 or week 3 of the season this year. He's been phenomenal, right? And then when you look at that secondary, I mean, Bond is playing great at the linebacker position. And even in their secondary right now, Quinshawn Mitchell is playing outstanding. Cooper DeJean, Darius Slay, 6-time Pro Bowler, right? So when you look at the overall talent of their roster, look, I love Jaden Daniels. I just think they're going to come up a little short. I would love to see them win this game. And I think Nas touched on the Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to be a ball-out hero to win this game. He's going to have to run the ball. He's going to have to throw it. He's going to have to do it all for them to beat these Kansas City Chiefs. And I hope he does it. I just don't see it right now.
Listen, he is 0-3 against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Man, if not now, when?
Win. Yep.
Right. That's got to be eating. That's been eating at him for 3 years. So, absolutely. You know, when we talk about the keys, when I wrote down, you know, Jayden Daniels or you know, quarterback. You know, what is he gonna do? His ability to run, his ability to throw when he has to break outside because the Eagles defense is coming in on him. He can throw on the run, but he can also fake that throw and run that thing for 60 yards.
Listen,
You know, and then on the Redskins side of the ball, on the Commander side of the ball,
Commanders.
He'll always be the Redskins.
They the
Should be
they-
Washington football team, but we'll debate that another day.
No, man. You can't call them the Redskins.
Okay. I'm cool. But on the Commander side of the ball, you know, I would say, let's put that pressure
Telling
on
you
Hurts. You're right. Let's put that pressure on Hurts. I think Barkley, I think he's gonna get his yards. But we know that Hurts is hurt. You know, let's turn the heat up on him every damn play.
Yeah,
That's where I would
right.
go with
Because
that.
think about it, the Eagles' route to winning over the past 2 months has been let the other team beat themselves. We're going to run the
Yep.
ball. We're going to throw the ball sparingly to the point where A.J. Brown is mad as hell. And we're just going to win these games because our defense is better. Our running back is having a historic season, and we're going to wear you out. Against Washington, the thing to deal with Daniels is, where is 4-down territory with Washington? Almost
Everywhere.
the whole field. Because Daniels gets you to
Yeah.
third and
Dan Quinn
short.
don't believe in kicking
And
field
then after
goals.
third and short, they'll just go for it like it's no big deal. And the other part is, with their system, it doesn't really matter if you have a number one wide receiver. As good as McLaurin is, they don't necessarily use him in that fashion. It's pretty much just spread you out and eventually, you know, just get chunk gains. And I just think if they get up, how does Philly actually respond? Is Jalen going to throw the ball to victory? I don't think so. So, I think Washington surprises everybody, man. And to the Josh Allen point, if Josh is who we think he is, go to the quote of the great Daniel Cormier. It's not a rivalry if you lose every time. Like, yo, Josh Allen, you got to beat Mahomes one of these times. If you're one of those guys that we think you are, you got to do it.
Yeah.
No.
This is it. This is the year.
Can't go on 4. And hey, look, his legacy is on the line here, right? If you want to be the elite quarterback, you got to beat the best, right? So Josh Allen's legacy is
It's
on the
not
line
on the line. Stop it.
His legacy is on the line right now in this game. He cannot go 0-4 against Patrick Mahomes.
What about
his legacy?
Whoa. Okay, well let me say this.
Charles Barkley, Karl Malone,
okay.
all those guys, Patrick Ewing, they never beat Michael Jordan.
So
Josh Allen has to end it right now. If his legacy is on the line, right? Just like those guys' legacy was on the line.
So is Lamar Jackson's legacy on the line? Because he can't get to a Super Bowl either.
Yeah, his legacy is on the line. At some point, you got to beat.
Okay, I just had to make sure we're keeping the same energy.
Yeah. At some point, At some point, you got to beat the best, right? And look, Charles Barkley, I just said it. None of those guys could beat Jordan in the 90s. Karl Malone, Stockton, Patrick Ewing. Who else? Who else did they beat? All of those guys.
They beat all those guys. They beat the Rain Man, all of them.
Josh Allen, his legacy's on the line. You cannot go 0-4 against Mahomes in the playoffs.
Yeah, I hope.
I mean,
go ahead, JQ.
I mean, I want him. I'm tired. I think one thing we are pretty consistent on this call is that we all want the Chiefs to lose. So I think we all are consistent in that. And I want them to lose,
which is
right?
a healthy
I wanted to
space
lose
for
last
any
week
sport. You need the empire that has to be overcome. That's a great thing
ready
for
to talk about Ohio State.
You already know that. You knew that was coming. But dynasties are good for sports because it gives everybody a rooting interest. It gives the fan that's not necessarily a super fan even interest in the sport. So the Chiefs go down, it's all over social media. It goes crazy. So yeah, this is going to be the biggest game of the year, and I'm excited to see this showdown because I'm not going to say legacy because these guys got so many years left. Like Lamar, at this same stage, Peyton Manning was in a similar position of Lamar Jackson.
Yes,
You
he
haven't
was.
won, you keep getting put out, you can't advance, and then eventually he broke through and it happened. That's going to happen for Lamar and Josh, but you got to kind
I
of
agree.
force your way into history, man. So I want to see Josh be great, man. Shout out to the white Cam Newton, my guy.
But it's tough because whenever Mark Andrews dropped that, I mean, Lamar didn't play a bad game. I mean, obviously Bernard had a fumble, had a couple uncharacteristic turnovers.
Well, he has 2 turnovers.
And then Mark Andrews dropped that pass, and it was like it was just a situation where you're like, well, he even knew it's like it's gonna be tough to come back over this.
Dre, let's say it. Baltimore lost that AFC playoff game in week 2 or week 4 when they lost to the Raiders, and they lost another game that didn't allow them to have home field advantage. Now you're going to Buffalo in January. Like, bruh, going to Buffalo in January is not a winning proposition. So, yeah, they played bad the first half. I bet you they had the wrong cleats. I bet you that field was muddy as hell.
I bet you they watered it down. We're gonna slow down, Lamar. You ain't running on us this time,
as you should.
And look, I wanted the Ravens to win that game. I was pulling for them. I mean, I predicted the Bills to win, but yeah, for the same reason. That's just a tough place to go play in that time of the year. I mean, you can prepare as much as you want for it, but those conditions are tough. And the Ravens had 4 or 5 turnovers in that game.
Yep.
And look, I agree with you, Dre. I thought Lamar competed. I thought he competed his ass off in that game, right? But he still had 2 turnovers with the fumble and INT. The team made a lot of mistakes. I think they beat themselves more than what the Bills beat them, personally. But those are the kind of things that's happening in that environment in Buffalo, right? As Nas was just talking about, that environment, that weather. As much as you practice and prepare for it, it's hard to get ready for it. Now, look, Joe Burrow and the Bengals went up there a couple of years ago in that same conditions, and they beat them. But the Ravens, the bottom line is the Ravens got to stop shooting themselves in the foot in the playoffs with the turnovers and the mistakes and the miscues. Same thing in the AFC Championship game last year against the Chiefs. They beat themselves in that game too with all the miscues, right? They got to figure out to play mistake-free football in the playoffs. And they got to get home field advantage. Well, they had it last year. But they got to figure out get home field advantage. They can't lose to Cleveland. They can't lose to these teams that they shouldn't be losing to, so they can have that.
Right. But last year, I thought Lamar played tight, tried to play too safe, and played a terrible game. This year, I thought his play was really good. Like the second half, he played really well. They just couldn't overcome the turnovers, and Buffalo played that game straight to the vest. They weren't taking any risks, and that was the perfect philosophy in that weather. But yeah, I don't knock Lamar too much for this one. But that Mark Andrews cutback, we're gonna see that for the next 30 years, man. I don't know what he was thinking.
Whoa, hell no. We get on TV and talk about Joe Burrow turning the ball over in the fourth quarter and all these other things. Lamar Jackson had 2 turnovers in that game.
He deserves some of the blame for sure. I thought he competed his ass off, but yeah, he deserves some of the blame for sure.
He did that. That's on him.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a question from Marcy. Is Lamar still in the running for MVP?
Yeah,
absolutely.
He won the MVP.
It's based on the regular season.
If you don't get his MVP,
he's not going to win it. But he's a 5 finalist.
Just stop doing the award. Stop it.
Stick a fork in that. That's not.
Yeah, no, he's not going to win it, but he was announced as one of the 5
finalists.
finalists.
We got to remember that, man. It's about excellence in the regular season. So
I think we undervalue Saquon Barkley personally. I think he should definitely be in that kind of conversation. I mean, over 2,000 yards rushing. What he does with that Eagles team this year.
Let's just end the conversation with this. Who has the better overall offensive weapons or team? The Ravens, the Eagles, or the Bills?
Oh, the Eagles.
And who's second?
Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Josh Allen's sitting here playing for ability to go to the Super Bowl with lesser options. The other 2 teams you're talking about, and Josh Allen don't win MVP. Stop it.
Yeah, but
It's
that's
Josh
but,
Allen.
but
Who's
we're
gonna win
talking
it?
about
There's no
we're
doubt
talking
about it.
salary cap allocation. Basically,
Uh,
Lamar already got his money, so the team was able to still fit in stuff. Josh got his money, so they had to restructure everything, and that's why you saw Diggs leave and all that other stuff. So I mean, Mahomes is looking at him like, "Yeah, bruh, it's real tough when you lose all your offensive weapons."
He got
And you gotta
Kelsey
start
and
from ground
Hopkins.
zero.
What?
Man, Kelsey is 79 years old, man. Come on.
He just went for 100 yards in the playoff game. What are you talking about? It's Josh Allen.
That's not gonna happen.
Listen,
And Hopkins playing like he's 85
Yes.
years old.
it's
Come on.
Josh Allen. I don't even understand why this is even a question.
It's gonna be Josh, but I think Lamar is gonna wind up second. But if it was up to me, I think it should be Saquon second.
But Josh Allen should win it.
That's gonna be
And can we
He's
say
gonna win it,
something for this
for
show?
sure.
Because we talked about this last offseason. The whole Moneyball analytics driven idealism that took over the NFL because we got way too many corporate people in the NFL now, to where all of a sudden, not only did running backs become devalued, people were saying running backs didn't matter. So then people get Derrick Henry and Saquon for peanuts, and the rest of the league just looks stupid because every running back is not the same. And to try to push this positionality as if it's more important than the individual player, it was insane. So
I
shout
agree.
out to the Giants GM.
I agree with that. But you know,
No, I
okay,
think
so
the
you just
running
made my point. Which two running backs did you just name? Derrick Henry, what team did he play for?
Baltimore, for sure.
Ravens,
Which team did Saquon play for?
Eagles.
Bills ain't got one of them running backs, do they?
Yep.
Where are they?
True.
Now Cook had a good
Okay.
year, but not a Delvin. He's not having a
is-
Derrick Henry and a Saquon Barkley kind of year. But
True.
I think Cook added some value to this Bills team for sure. They ran the ball a lot better this year than they have in years
100%.
past for sure.
Well, there's a
But
difference
running back
between
position,
there's
to
a
Naj's point, I think the running back position, I think the value of the position has increased this year based on what we've seen from Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry and even a few others this year, right?
Bijan
And I
Robinson
think you're
too.
going to see it. I think you're going to see it in the NFL draft this year too. Obviously, Genty from Boise State. I think he's going to go in the first round. I think you got a good chance that both of the running backs from Ohio State going to go in the second round this year as well. I have Junkins going in the top 50. So, I mean, Travion Henderson, I got him going 64 right now. So, I think in years past, what we saw in the draft, we saw maybe one running back go in the first round, and then we wouldn't see another one until like the third round at the earliest. But I think this year, you're probably still only going to have one in the first, but you're going to see about 3 or 4 go in the second round. I think the position is actually the value is going up because of Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. I got Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State going in the second round. I got Amari Hampton from North Carolina going in the second round. Say what?
Where's Arizona State got? Where's the Arizona
I got
State guy going?
Scatterboo going in the third round to the Cowboys.
Wow.
Believe it or
He
not.
ain't gonna last to the third round. If Scottaboo goes in the third round, everybody should be fucking fired.
Agreed. And
Go ahead, Gary.
all,
You were
all
saying
of
something,
this,
Gary.
I'm sorry, Gary. All of this is based on groupthink. The groupthink went too far with analytics and devaluing the running back. And now, like y'all said, we're getting back to sensible things. Shout out to Merrill Hodge. A factor back is not an average back, and you
Not
can't
Merrill
treat him
Hodge.
the same. Shout out to the homie Merrill.
Wow.
That was one of JQ's favorite players when he was with the Steelers.
Oh my goodness
See,
gracious for the
that's
Steelers.
the nonsense.
Oh man.
Gary,
I'm done.
he's done. Hey, we did a fantastic job. We're a little over the OT. We're gonna do some last two things, and we'll wrap this up. We tried to save the night for you, JQ, as far as Ohio State and laying the blueprint for winning the championship. So we're gonna let you have the full wrap up with Rob's mock draft. So welcome JQ and do your thing, man.
Listen, so I was there, and don't y'all start that big money talk because that's ridiculous. I got there on the humble, thank the Lord Jesus for looking out for your boy at the 11th hour.
You know you big money,
Listen,
man.
stop that talk. I got lucky, but it was an incredible game to go to. And
Come on,
I wish they just had to stomp Notre Dame and not take their foot off the gas. But I will be remiss if I didn't bring up that I had a bit of an altercation with a Notre Dame fan at the game, and I had to get him kicked out the stadium because the chick just told me, sorry for anybody, plug your ears. That chick told me fuck me probably about 4 or 5 times throughout the course of the game. And about the last one, I just looked to the usher and said, hey man, she gotta go. But she was getting so mad because they were getting their doors blown off that she was talking reckless to me, and her husband was sitting there and he was like, well, she's sensitive. I said, how you gonna be sensitive? She just told me fuck me. Like, she's talking reckless. Like how you gonna be mad at me about it? Like, I need you to get your chick. But I appreciate my Buckeyes for holding it. No, it was wild. It was wild. It was wild.
JQ got the girl kicked
I
out
damn
of the
sure
dome,
did, because
man.
she was talking crazy to me. She was sitting in front of me. She turned around and said, fuck you. I said, oh no, what is happening? And I need you to get your chick because she is cussing me out in front of me. But all that being said, shout out to Will Howard. Played a really good game. The running backs played a really good game. I don't know how you leave Jeremiah Smith one-on-one, but sure, do your thing, Notre Dame. So I appreciate it. Yeah, I had a good time. I took Marta because I'm smart. But it was a good night. And
No, you didn't drive smart.
listen, Marta, because you're smarter. But yeah, man, it was wild. I'll tell you more about that, what happened in person, but it was wild. Like, I've never had to get somebody. It was so bad that there was another chick that was rooting for Notre Dame. She looked at me and she clapped her hands and said, you are doing a fantastic job. I said, thank you. Because this chick is cussing me out.
Oh.
Like, she's cussing me out to my face. And her husband is sitting there. And I want to knock them both out. But I want to be cool. So, yeah.
A Notre Dame fan had her first beer. Yeah.
All she was drinking was light beer. She had like 5 light beers, bro. She didn't have no liquor. It was 5 light beers. I counted them. And she was growling. So I'm gonna end it with this, so you can go to your thing, Rob. And listen, we are 12th man after dark. So I don't know if you remember the game. 12th man after dark. The drive that Junkins broke that 70-yard run on and got tackled at the 5. Okay, so they was coming back and they was talking junk. But back it up. I told him when I saw him, I said, listen, we're gonna have some good natured trash talking, but I'm never gonna disrespect you while we out here. Like, you root for your team, I'm root for my team, but I'm never gonna disrespect you. And then everybody said, cool. And then it just went left on their part. So they stop us on 1st and 10. She goes, let's go Irish. And she gets the other Irish fans around her going. And I was like, oh, that's impressive. You got them going. Next play, Junkins goes for 70 yards, gets tackled at the 5. And she turns around, looks at me, and gives me the finger. I said, let's go Irish. And she looked at me, she said, fuck you. I said, oh, that is not nice. What? The usher came down. I said, hey, I got it under control. I'm good. I'm an adult. I can handle it. And I was just like, you just can't keep telling me fuck you to my face, though. Like, she's right here. Like, the row in front of me turns around. Fuck you. I said, oh, no. You can't get mad at me because I'm rooting on my team. When you got the Let's Go Irish chant going and he broke off a 70-yard run, you gotta live with that. You gotta own it. You gotta eat it and just be cool with it. So yeah, it was it was wild. It was a wild night.
Oh my God.
These are all true stories.
Did you have any light beers, JQ?
Say what?
Did you have any light beers?
Oh man, listen. No, I had all kind of liquor. I was feeling fantastic. All the liquor. I got a discount ticket. When my homeboy that got me in the game, I said every time I get a drink, I'm getting you a drink. So yeah, I was feeling good. But I'm telling you, hand to Bible to God, I never disrespected anybody in there, and she went nuts on me to the point I had to kick her out.
Yeah. We were watching the post game, and it was funny because Marcus Freeman was like, just couldn't stop him. We were like, man, what y'all doing doing over there? Like, why is Jeremiah Smith on single coverage? Like, come on, man. We're like, what's going on? That's not a good decision.
Chuck, he might be the best wide receiver in the country as a freshman, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
But JQ,
God.
you can celebrate though, because the DC for Notre Dame is now in Cincinnati.
There it is. There, we already talked.
Yep.
There you go. Like, listen, that is so ironic that happened. It's like, yo, the biggest win against Ohio State. Guess where he's going? To your pro team. What?
But the problem is, and not Nick Saban, Bill Belichick talked about it. You can't be interviewing for these other positions while you're trying to go with your game plan. It's a detriment. So again, I don't think Notre Dame had the personnel with the scheme they have been running all year to deal with Ohio State in the passing game. But you cannot have your attention divided when you're trying to do this and then take the next step. It's just the proof is in the pudding. Look at Detroit. Yeah. They just lost to Washington. Both their coordinator's gone. You think they had 100% focus on what they needed to do? Like, no disrespect to Jane Daniels. Yeah. He played an awesome game against Detroit. But if your coordinators aren't distracted, does the same thing happen? I don't know. It's just good fodder for debate. I just don't know.
I think it has to affect it. I think it has to affect it
absolutely.
in some way or another.
Those guys should be waiting to. And look, Cliff Kingsbury for the Commanders. Their teams that want to interview him. He said he's going to wait till the season is over, and I think that's smart on his part, right? He's one of those coaches that says, "Hey, I want to wait. I want to focus on the task at hand before I start interviewing." Now, if you're really interested in me, please wait, right? And look, I think the Saints are one of those teams that want to talk to him, and I think they are waiting.
Oh my God,
and,
Rob! If this happens, y'all gonna see me have a fit that y'all ain't seen before on this show, bruh. This man lost in college, somehow parlayed his way to Arizona, lost there, gets this OC gig with the great one. Shout out to Jaden, and now is gonna get credit and walk into another gig. Dog, how does he keep getting away with this stuff? Like, is he good with owners wide?
Hey,
like, how is he? Dog.
And all these teams do, they just recycle coaches, right? All of these teams, that's all that's taking place. These teams are just recycling coaches on a regular basis. We see that all the time, right? Guys get fired and they get hired. Guys get fired and then they get hired. They get hired by someone else, right? So that's all we've been seeing this in the NFL, college, 30, 40 years now, right? Longer than that. And so guys get fired, guys get hired, right? Shucks. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Liam Cohen gets hired as the Jags coach, by the way, if you didn't know that on the ticker. We'll talk about some stuff as well.
Pete Carroll sucks. He got fired by Seattle. Looked like he's gonna get the Las Vegas job, right?
That's crazy.
Guys get fired.
Yeah.
Guys get hired.
Wow.
Yeah, but Pete's been so good in so many places, though.
But Pete got rings. Pete got rings at both levels.
Yeah, he won national championships in college. He won the Super Bowl. Yeah. Went to another Super Bowl and lost. We was just handed Marshawn Lynch the ball.
They know probably would have.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
100%.
No doubt about it.
100%. He's a great culture guy, so he wins as far as a winner too.
And he's got a lot of energy.
Yeah,
for his age. I mean, that guy has a ton of energy.
We'll take him. Instead of Schottenheimer.
Well, yeah. You missed that rant earlier, JQ, with Schottenheimer. Because the choices are Schottenheimer and Kellen Moore. I was telling Gary, you got to get the old retread or the new up-and-comer. So you get that, or you got the clapper, Jason Garrett, trying to come back in there. They did say that Rex Ryan could be the defensive coordinator, too, for the Cowboys, something crazy like that. So, hey, man, it's a reunion, Gary. There you go.
Coaches get fired. Coaches get hired.
I don't understand if you're going to let Mike McCarthy go while you hire Schottenheimer like him.
Right. That's exactly
the same thing I said earlier before you joined the show. I said you might as well have kept Mike McCarthy if you're going to hire Brian Schottenheimer, who's the offensive coordinator on your staff. I said the same thing earlier on the show. Yeah. I mean, you might as well have just kept Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, but those scenarios are so funny because you all often wonder, okay, what was this guy saying to the owner? How deep was the knife he stabbed into the back of the coach that he worked for? Because
Right.
you never know. We
That shit
won't
goes
know
on. It
until
happens.
McCarthy makes it known that he don't like Buddy. That like we gotta wait until then. The coaching injury.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Behind the scenes. Hey, you guys have been fantastic. We're going definitely over. We're gonna say the last part of the show for the mock draft here. And Rob, again, I know you post a lot of these on our Talking Sports page. You got to put those on Twitter. You know, I'm gonna do segue really quickly about the Titans because they said that they've got three options. Either going to select their franchise QB, they're going to trade down and collect more picks, or they're going to select the best player in the class with that number one pick. So they've got some options. But Rob, talk about the mock draft here, and we'll wrap up the show after this.
Lakers kicking the Celtics' ass.
Let's
JQ.
go.
I saw it.
Anyway. All right. Hey, look, I heard the same thing the Tennessee Titans are saying, and look, they have to say that, but they cannot go into this season with Will Levis at the starting quarterback position, right? They cannot be comfortable with Will Levis. I still have them picking Shedeur Sanders number one in my mock at the moment. I still have Cam Ward going to Cleveland. Cleveland is saying the same thing, right? Deshaun Watson is hurt again, and he's probably going to miss all of next season. So, and you saw Jameis Winston wasn't the answer. You saw Dorian Thompson-Robinson wasn't the answer. So I still got the quarterbacks. And look, I don't think they're the two best players in the draft. I really don't. I don't think Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward are the two best players in the draft. But these two teams are going to draft these quarterbacks, right? So I still got Shedeur Sanders to Tennessee. I got Cam Ward to 2. The best player in the draft is Travis Hunter, right? And I got him going to the Giants. The Giants need a quarterback too, but they have no choice because there's no other quarterback worth taking at number 3 in this draft. So I got him taking Travis Hunter, who's the best player in the draft. And the second best player in the draft is Abdul Carter, edge rusher from Penn State, right? And I have him going number 4 to New England. I got Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan. I'm going number 5 to Jacksonville. I got Las Vegas taking Toro McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona. He's a freakish athlete if you haven't seen this dude. Wide receiver from Arizona. I got the Jets taking Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. I got the Carolina taking Will Campbell, offensive tackle LSU. I got my beloved Saints taking Mikael Williams, edge rusher from Georgia. And I got the Bears taking James Pierce Jr., edge rusher from Tennessee. I'll talk about y'all teams here real quick. I got the Cowboys taking Malachi Stark, safety from Georgia. I got Atlanta taking the Jalen Walker, edge rusher from Georgia. And I got Cincinnati taking Shamar Stewart, big defensive tackle from Texas A&M in the first round. In the second round, I got the Saints taking Alfred Collins, defensive tackle from Texas. I got the Cowboys taking Isaiah Bond, wide receiver from Texas. I got Cincinnati taking JT, the edge rusher from Ohio State. There you go, JQ. I got the Falcons taking Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas in the second round. And last but not least, third round, the Saints got 2 third-round picks. Got us taking Caleb Johnson, running back from Iowa. And I also have us taking Deontay Lawson, linebacker from Alabama. Cincinnati got him taking Arian Smith, wide receiver from Georgia. And Dallas. And I have Dallas taking Scattervoo, running back from Arizona State.
Yeah, word on the street is
he's got talent though, JQ. You know, somebody's gonna take a chance on him.
Word on the street is, Rob, you told Carson Beck to go back to school.
I did. I told him and Drew Lennar,
he was like,
told him to go back to school. Garrett Nussmeier told him to go back to school too.
Listen,
they saw Rob's mock draft.
If
like,
they draft
back to school.
Anybody from the Georgia wide receiver core after the performance they put on this year, fire everybody in the scouting department. I don't give a damn about no talent and no upside. Them boys can't catch. They can't catch.
A lot of 4'4" guys with no hands.
Yes, my only pushback to you on this is that I believe that Abdul Carter, in all honesty, is a fantastic edge rusher. But I've watched critical drives where he had not just disappeared, but he didn't put his imprint on it. Like if he was that dude, he could have won some of those big games for James Franklin. Like he's good, don't get me wrong. but I don't know if he's top 5 good because he's had the opportunity in that Notre Dame game. Make a play. Get him.
He made a lot
game.
of plays in that game, though. He made a lot of plays in that Notre Dame
But
game.
when the money's on the line, and I'm going to draft you top 5.
Yep.
When the money's on the line and you don't get it done, you get sitting home, and then you're going to go top 5. It's hard for me to say that when he had the opportunity to put his imprint on that game and get them to where they needed to go. That's my only thing about it. He's fantastic. I just don't think he's top 5 in my opinion because I watched him against Ohio State against backup offensive linemen when we got hurt, and he has some plays in the game. But when it's fourth quarter, when it's money time, when I need you to be that dude to end the game, I need you to be Michael Parsons, right?
Yeah.
I need you to be him, and you don't do it. And you lose the big games. What makes
JQ,
me think
you know
that
just
you do
as
it
well
in
as I
NFL than you
know,
do in college?
you're gonna have some players get overdrafted because of their talent. And Abdul Carter's talent there's no question about his ability. And there are going to be some coaches that are going to draft him because they're going to believe that they can get the best out of him. I think you and I know that. We've seen that time over time again in previous drafts, that guys are going to get drafted a lot higher because of their talent. And I think that's what you're going to see with Abdul Carter right now. When you're looking at this draft board, there are not too many guys below him that you will pick above Abdul Carter. Maybe Totoro McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona. I wouldn't take Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan, over him. I wouldn't take Will Campbell over him. Mikael Williams.
I would take Will Campbell over him. Man, if you can give me a bookend left tackle to 12 to 15 years, I damn sure would.
Yeah.
Who you talking about? Will Campbell?
The dude.
Or deep offensive tackle LSU? Yeah. And look, now Will Campbell is a technician, right? He's phenomenal. But the one thing that the scouts are going to question with Will is his arm length, right? That's what you look for in offensive tackles, right? So he doesn't have the arm length that you really prefer from a historic, traditional left tackle. Now he's still going to get drafted top 10, at worst top 15, because he's a smart player and he's a technician, right? But he does not have the arm length that you traditionally have.
So he's basically a really good NFL guard, and you're not going to take a guard in the top 5.
Right.
But he's still going to play tackle. He might get moved to the right side, depending on the quarterback. That's a possibility too. But the guy is a smart player, and he plays by the book, right? So from a technician standpoint, he's got all the techniques down.
My problem is this. I'm a Big Ten guy, as everybody knows. I'm only saying Michael Parsons because I watched Michael Parsons wreck shop in college. With when we played them, we had to double Michael Parsons. I've watched Ohio State put our tackle one-on-one with Drew Carter. And sometimes he won, but there was times where it was money time that he didn't win. And it was like, you couldn't do that against Michael Parsons or he was going to wreck the game. So he was deserving of that higher pick. When I look up Carter, I was like, he sometimes just disappears. And that's my only thing. But maybe it's just a weak draft at the top like that. Like you want to trade back and just build, responsibly.
No, JQ, what you're saying is legit, but just think about that war room. Production, the people on the negative side are going to bring up production like you are, but the people on the other side of the table are going to bring up measurables, and that's what's going to get them overdrafted, as he's talking about right now. Oh, look at the 40 time. Oh, look at the bench. Look at they're going to talk up the measurables, and that's going to get them picked, man. It's going to happen. Somebody's going to fall in love with it.
I agree with you. I've seen a lot of Abdul Carter this year. And there were some games where I thought he disappeared too as well. But I saw him some other games where he was flat out phenomenal. And I actually thought he had a heck of a game against Notre Dame overall in that football game. I thought he had a huge impact. And actually, I know he played SMU and Boise State. He had a huge impact in those games. But he's supposed to have a huge impact in those games against SMU in Boise State, right? But no, I agree with you. There were some times. But we've seen this happen before, right? We've seen players get overdrafted because of their talent. And when it comes down to it, that's what I think is going to get him. I mean, I just gave you the top 10. There's not too many guys below him that you're going to take above Abdul Carter. They're not. James Pierce, I got him going number 10. James Pierce needs to get a little stronger, right?
No,
There's no
he
question
like
about his
Nas.
talent, but yeah, he's gonna have to get a little stronger, and that's why I got him going lower than Abdul Carter, right? Mikael Williams, edge rusher from Georgia, the same thing, elite talent. I got him going number 9 to the Saints, but same thing. He's had some games where he's disappeared, right? And elite talent. So, and he's been a little injury prone too, right? So I think when you look at who's beneath Abdul Carter, who are you going to jump up? You mentioned Will Campbell. Yeah, that's a possibility. Maybe Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle from Texas. Maybe.
He was injured.
But other than that, Jalen Walker, I got him going 15 to the Falcons. He's light too. He's got to bulk up as well. So I mean, you got all of these players are talented, but they all have something that's going to be.
I'm sorry. Can I ask one more question? I'm gonna turn it over. Where do you have Warren going? The tight end from Penn State.
Man,
I got him going 16 to Arizona.
Broncos fans love that dude. They love that dude. Man, Broncos fans like, that's the dude. They love that dude, man. I don't know what it is.
So, Kyler Murray, man, having him with a Marvin Harrison Jr. If that happens,
yeah,
I like that.
In Kyler Murray's last season in Arizona, then we can save that for another day. But to Rob's point, there are a lot of teams who have historic size, weight, and speed measurements that they use to kind of tip the scales on if they're going to draft a guy. And Abdul Carter's going to hit that. Like somebody's going to say, okay, with those measurables, even if he misses, I won't get fired for taking the risk on him. But if I draft that tackle and he can't play to the degree that we're thinking of, you're getting fired. So Abdul Carter, that's the other part too, the insurance part. You're the GM. Hey, I drafted the best pass rusher. He didn't work out, but he was the best one in the draft.
I get it. And again, I don't. For the Penn State fans, I know. You hate me, I hate you. It's fine. And I'm not minimizing. I'm not minimizing. Listen, but I'm not minimizing Carter. I'm just saying in terms of
how you really
top 5. To me, should he go in the first round? Absolutely. But top 5, I'm like,
it's a good call. This is a good conversation. I'll say this too. Whenever we talk about measurables too, because a couple things you can't measure. And again, we've all heard about the Mike Mamulas of the world. We're laughing about that. But you look at like a player like a Zach Thomas, player, he's kind of short, but he has more heart. Luke Kuechly, Luke, the guy from
Luke
Panthers. Sam Mills, great Sam Mills. There's a lot of players that you're like, man, your measurables aren't what they. And we've seen players, look like Tarzan, play like Jane. So that happens so many times. Dan Quinn used to do that for the Falcons. Believe it or not, Gary. He I like a guy that's like long arms and then the dude can't play. Like, what the hell? It's like, get the football player. Don't get somebody that looks like they could do this, but get the player that is actually going to be a football player. Ray Lewis was the same way. Short guy, he had heart. Ed Reed, same thing. That dude was just a machine.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this last thing we wrapped up. JQ, you might not even have a 3rd round pick because we're going to trade.
Let's go.
Stop that shit. Stop that false news.
Man,
it's going to happen, my guy.
Not no 3rd rounder. You might trade a 7th rounder for
Come on, shut it up. Put it out there.
Speaking of measurables, that's the situation we're in with Kyle Pitts. Blew the combine away. Measurables were historic. Yeah. So he was overdrafted, and now, like you said, we can't wait to run him out of town. So, it's going to play out that way sometimes.
You might as well just re-sign Mike Gesicki. He had a fantastic year for the Bengals. I watched him in person just destroy people. Why trade a pick when you could just sign a dude that was on your team?
Man, nobody trading no 3rd round pick for Kyle Pitts. I'm sorry. Maybe
you ain't see that 40
third day pick.
Stop that, Nash. Stop that, Mr. Smith. Stop it.
NFL teams around the league has got enough tape on Kyle Pitts to know that he's not.
Dude, by the end of the season, he was splitting snaps with the backup blocking tight end. That's how bad it got, man. So
Obviously, I'm joking. I'm having some fun, for the situation. But again, it's just there's some smoke, there is some fire. sort of with the Bengals and Kyle Pitts, but not like that high of a pick. I'm totally joking too. But I am saying great point, Naj, as far as measurables. And you know, again, we can always redraft and kind of, again, keep going back. I'm still miffed that Terry Fontenot, you sat there and talked about how great Jamar Chase was, and you just passed him. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't think he was going to be an option, that he's going to be there. I'm still hurt about that one. And yet, you saw how amazing that he did.
They could peddle Pitts. They could peddle Pitts to the Cowboys, and we would be fantastic under Schottenheimer's offense.
Oh my God!
Hey man, go send that 7th rounder over, man. We'll send him to you.
You bet not.
You could probably get a 3rd round out of Jerry Jones.
Oh my goodness, we'll take it. He'd be like, "Look how fast he is! Look how fast he is!" Hold on, let me get Rob in here. Look how fast Kyle Pitts is. He ran a 4.4, a 4.56 40. Man, come on, man. He's the fastest tight end ever. Just make it happen, man.
He's like the reverse Javon Curse. He's a reverse freak. He's faster than all the linebackers and bigger than all the safeties. Therefore, he should dominate. But then in actual reality, he can't get separation against the safeties, and the linebackers run with him step for step, bro. It's bad.
It's unbelievable how – and then we saw Tony Gonzalez. That dude was always open, man. I don't know what the French toast – that dude was able to, like, make play. That dude was like Travis Kelce. That dude's getting open. Like, how the hell is he getting separation? And he's in, like, 35 years old. Like, what the hell? Man.
Kelsey looks like he's running in
Man,
slow
in
motion.
quicksand.
And then
That's
In
true.
quicksand.
That's
Sometimes
true.
it's about
He-
being a good route runner.
And he
then there's nobody
butt
around
naked
him.
open. I said, why is Travis
That
Kelce
dude
like he's
can.
running in cement blocks? Wide open.
Well, you're not getting juked out of your shoes. What's he gonna do? You ain't juking me out of my shoes. But yet still, Rob keeps getting disconnected for some reason.
I can't call
Go
it.
ahead.
You're right, Gary. It's wow. He out there
Yeah.
running in slow motion, wide open.
And there is a point to that too, when the idea is he's not as scary as he used to be. So teams aren't putting as much emphasis on stopping him. And I think the Chiefs had him on snap count all season. So maybe he's fresh. I don't know. But yeah, like y'all said, man, he looked like somebody's daddy out there, dog. Like it's Thanksgiving Day with the family, the daddy running routes.
Not their daddy, they step uncle. Just out there terrible. Like, what is happening?
But then you see him and there's not a damn player on the screen around him. I mean, geez, what the
Wide open.
hell is going
It's
on?
crazy.
Option routing people to death.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna get Robin here for the last couple minutes here, and then we'll wrap up the show. We've been going way too long here. Even Marcy
bad.
was like, long show. No, it's fun. It was good. We had a lot of things to get through. We enjoyed you joining us late, JQ, so we had to get your thoughts. Naj was a pleasant surprise. And it's just, it's just been a really, really great show. We had a lot of topics. I knew we were not going to get to all of them, but as always, that's what we do. Hey, Rob, can you hear us? Are you back, my guy?
Nope.
Rob, what's going on?
You can look at it. He froze.
He's in Boise, Idaho over there. Man. Rob.
No infrastructure in that state.
What's that? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got you. Yeah, really.
Can you hear
faintly. We were kind of frozen there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It looks like I'm having.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, you got to upgrade the Wi-Fi in the
yeah.
hotel room.
Man, see, that's not right. That's not right, JQ. That's not right, JQ.
Hey.
There you go.
Y'all thought I was gonna rap, didn't you?
I had something to say, but I'm definitely not going to say it. I'll text you guys tomorrow.
All right, y'all.
We're wrapping this up. Hey, we just want to thank you for another great Talking Sports show here using Restream. I'm going to get Rob on as we wrap this up one more time. I was going to let you do the ending, JQ, but we're going to let Rob can get his connection straight. We'll Let everyone do an ending. From the frozen tundra of Atlanta here.
Oh yeah,
Rob.
There he
you
is.
got a frozen tundra in Atlanta. Y'all coming out of that pretty good now?
We're okay, man. It's crazy, man. Wrap this show up, Rob.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in to another great show. We'll be back with you on next week. We'll keep you posted. We'll post it on our Talking Sports page. We'll keep you posted on what night of the week is going to be. Obviously, we got to recap the conference championship games and see who's going to be in the Super Bowl. So more to come on that as well on next week. Can't wait to get back to you all next week. Hey, East Coast, it's going to be 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We want to hear from y'all. Philadelphia, want to hear from y'all. The Q's holding up Ohio State. Columbus, that's going to be 10 p.m. Central Standard Time for you all in Ohio. I'm picking Ohio State number 1 going into next season. JQ, you missed my top 15 earlier in the show. And then Central Time Zone. Oh, I already said Central. Columbus. All right. I'm in Boise, so we'll give a shout out to Boise State. They're going to be in contention from a group of 5 again next year, along with UNLV and Navy. So Mountain Time Zone, that's going to be 9 p.m. And hey, for those people in Fresno, California, JQ's favorite city, the Jackson, Mississippi of California, Fresno.
Wow.
It's going to be 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for you all on next week. So stay tuned. We'll be right back at you.
Stop that shit with those damn group of 5. Stop it. So you can go in and get bounced.
One of them got to go.
Hey,
I
listen,
don't make
you're
the
right.
rules.
One of them gotta go. They're gonna get in, then one of them gotta go.
Gotta go. Wait, I don't make the rules. That's the truth. I'm not saying I agree with it, but if one of them's got to go to the playoffs, my early projections is gonna be Boise State, Navy, or UNLV.
I'm
next
telling
year.
you what it is. You ever coming to America? Gotta go.
Hey, man, it's good to see you guys. Gary, man, I'm so happy to see your face, man. I missed you last week, but so happy this is a situation. Naj, one day we'll see your face, man. Again, it's a pleasure, man.
Why
Next
do you
week.
have a Gators t-shirt on? What is happening? Get out of Florida.
I say the same thing.
I know. Hey,
You know,
JQ, I got a surprise
He's
for
living
you
in
next
Ocala,
week.
Florida
Yeah.
these days. So
JQ, I got a surprise for you next week. Okay.
Okay, I'm
Dre knows
scared
what it
now.
is.
I'm super scared.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
he's living in Ocala, Florida now. They didn't with the
It's
Gators
over.
here.
I'm rocking that old school Gators. Like that's 1967 Gators shirt. Come on, Gary.
I mean, we thought you were a Miami
Florida
fan.
might
I
be a
mean, what?
surprise next year. DJ Legway.
Yeah, he a Hurricane fan. You can't have no Gators shirt on.
I know,
It's
right?
like JQ wearing a Michigan shirt.
Screwdriver.
Oh,
Which
you
was-
so
Let's give us a
humanity.
head coach.
Listen, the only
give
way
us a
that
head
happens
coach
is
down
my
there.
daughter goes to Michigan and graduates summa cum laude as a valedictorian and goes to be a PhD. That's the only way. And I would never wear it on the podcast. I wear it when you motherfuckers won't see it.
Well, he's obviously not a Hurricane fan anymore. They got Carson back. He's giving up on Cristobal down there.
For
Turned on the Hurricane.
shame,
Hey,
Gary.
man, it's a rough
For
sport
shame.
decade.
Yeah, you got to tell us about it. You must have lost a bet or something. Okay, we got to go.
All right, gentlemen. It's fun. We'll see you guys next week. Appreciate you
All right,
guys.
y'all.
Night, everyone.